Hello, hello. Happy Friday. And additionally, happy Halloween. How's everyone doing? Hey, Diginanigans. Toyosa? Maybe? Tojosa? Tojosoa? Welcome in. How's it going? Sorry, I'm butchering your name. How's it going, everyone? Here we are. Here we are again. For some spooky game dev. No, we're not doing any spooky game dev. We did that last weekend. I'm still really pleased with it. If anyone wants to check it out, what we did, The Grave Escape, digitaliliad.h.io/The Grave Escape. We had a good time with this one. Part of the solo development jam for Halloween. We ended up making this little spooky, little graveyard, reverse farming kind of game. I'd encourage you to check it out. I say it's like the least appropriate music plays. Cozy little, it's supposed to be a cozy little game. Some people have said it's a little stressful, but it's consequence free, so you know it's a place to go, just go and hang out. Hey, Sapphire. But yeah, we're back to working on our regular game. This music is hilarious. Put our regular chill station on. I should play spooky music, but I can't do it. There's too much weird ambient spooky sounds on that radio station. How's everyone do today? All right, so we're fixing a few things with the auto tiler. That's what we're doing today. How am I doing? I'm doing okay. I'm ready for the weekend. I'm a little tired still from the ordeal that was that game jam. I'm ready to hang out. Hopefully not do much this weekend. So we got a lot of the overlays working again. There are some exceptions though, which is this like edge case. We've still got this edge case that isn't right. So it's okay here, but if we do this, got this little edge. The inner edge gets drawn up here, and we have to figure out a way of removing that without removing this other line. I can't point to it, but we gotta be careful about the way that we change this overlay. We just want to get rid of this extra white line that pops in on the wall above the selection. We don't want that to happen. So yeah, some more. When does the voting come to close for that jam? I think it's next Sunday. So I'm gonna be playing more jam games tomorrow. That's what we're gonna do tomorrow. It should be fun. I'll play a bunch of them. We'll see if people come in and submit games or if I just go through the list on my own. Probably a mix of both. It's a smaller jam, so it's not going to be people. It's not going. People aren't going to be coming in as aggressively as they do for like Ludum Dare or something. So it should be pretty chill. I don't even think I'm going to have a proper queuing system or a raffle, which is something I need to implement. But yeah, let's just auto tile today here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more of the jam games for sure. So how am I going to get rid of this line? So let's think about the logical case. So we're not in the mask. So these tiles aren't in the mask. The tile upstream from them is in the mask. However, there is no hull type. Because it would be one thing if there was a piece here. And we try to do this. Like if we did this, we would want the selection to appear for this block specifically, but we'd still not want this. So I think that's the issue. It's for some reason we're not capturing that particular combination where if there's no hull type here, but yeah, it should be easy. Should be easy. I couldn't figure it out yesterday, so we'll see. Sapphire, are the outlines in the corners supposed to be doubled up? Let me see if I understand what you mean. So the way it generally works is that vertical outlines, so it's kind of confusing. Vertical boundaries, I guess I would call it, which are like boundaries between tiles before and behind or above and below. Like those outlines overlap, those tiles slightly overlap at the edge. So like this wall shares this line here down at the bottom with the floor tile next to it. So like you can kind of see if I bounce from this tile to this tile, you can see that shared line between them. So those share lines. However, the side edges, the vertical up and down lines, which are the horizontal boundaries between tiles, left to right, those aren't shared. So there's no overlap. So yeah, if you're at a corner, you have a double thick outline because you have one outline from this face on the left and one outline from this face on the right. And that we keep that to be generally true. You can notice in the cutaway here, like this tile that we cut away, you don't see that. So there are complicated reasons why we do or don't have the double outline there. But yeah, it's a good thing to note. It is technically working as intended. There are cases where it doesn't, but that's one of the cases where it does. Yeah, it's arcane. Kind of how it's all set up. So let's see. So we have this case of like, is it the or? No, because we're not erroneously, accidentally removing the outline. The problem is the outline is sticking around when it should be removed. So it's this branch that I think we need to fix. You notice those lines were thicker than the others? Yeah, it's because it's usually, it only pretty much happens at corners or surface changes. So like one hole type here and then another hole type next to it, you'd have a double thick outline between them because each hull type is like, the outlines generally hit whenever you have a change of a homogeneous surface and meets a different surface, you know? Or it's the outline or the corners, like you noticed, like at the joining of two corners, that's also where we do a double outline. It's weird. It's a weird system. Early on in the project, I did a lot of experiments about that, about overlapping versus not overlapping. This is kind of what we ended up with. And it's kind of the only pattern that tessellates correctly. I don't know if there is a way of setting it up where it tessellates correctly and doesn't have to overlap, but it was a lot more straightforward to do the overlap. I guess we could have gotten rid of the overlap in some cases, but this was the most consistent approach, was to do horizontal lines, which are the vertical boundaries, overlap, but vertical lines, which are the horizontal boundaries, don't overlap. That ended up being the most consistent thing to do. All right, so this branch is wrong. So we say, okay, the mask, if the mask doesn't contain this tile or block, this is a block, not a tile. And, oh. And the mask does contain this tile. Here, I think we've got this. It's funny how this can seem so impossible in the moment when you're working on it and you're like, I don't see a solution. And then you come back to it next time and you're like, oh, that seems obvious actually now that I think about it. There seems to be an obvious solution here. I think this gives us what we want. It should be... I think we're going to say... Well, I think I want to add one more rule to this, but let's see what this says first. Sapphire, it's kind of annoying how sometimes the best way to figure something out is, is to not think about it for a while. Yeah, very often the case. Excuse me. Ew. Okay, so this is going wrong in this case, but this might be a thing that solves the problem. Okay, so this solves that problem. What about this problem? Okay, it also solves that problem, but it introduces one more problem, which is this problem. So we've covered this. We no longer have this extra inner outline here. I do think we need some kind of X-ray vision thing so that we can see a selection through a closed wall. We do like maybe a dotted line thing or something. Maybe we'll have like an X-ray layer that has a higher z-index priority than anything else. I could see something like that. So you can see the problem. If we do this, we haven't changed this, and that's why you see that extra white outline on the back edge of this wall, of this foreground wall. And that's fine. We've gotten rid of that on this side by changing the rules slightly. So we don't have that anymore. But the problem is on this back wall, we've got this. Oh, this is wrong. What happens when I do this? Oh, that solves some important stuff for us. Huh, okay. But now there's one more problem, which is this. So now this back line is missing. So what's the exception here? Oh, so this is selected, but this isn't selected. Oh, that's easy. That's an easy distinction. So that's part of... Oh, no, this shouldn't kick in. Oh, it's this ore. It's this stupid ore. If not masked up contains... Oh, no. It's not this ore. Huh. The shenanigans in 3D that's magically solved with the stencil buffer. I know. I wanted to use the stencil buffer in the Grave Escape so badly, and it just straight up didn't work. The way the models were set up from the Kenny and K-Kit asset, or at least the K-Kit asset, the models, our floor tile models, were set up in such a way that the stencil buffer didn't work correctly, and I was so upset because I was like, I need this to do the outlines. Which is why we don't have outlines, which is why people complain about the lack of click feedback. Yeah. Stencil buffer's awesome. But yeah, we don't get to use that in 2D. But yeah, stencil buffer is definitely the, like, GOAT as far as, like, the new feature in 4.5. It doesn't really benefit us very much at the moment, but I hope to use it in the future. Next time I do another 3D game. Sapphire, you've been voting for X-Ray since I split out the outlines. X-Ray is very doable now. I think we'll have like a dotted outline for the X-Ray or something like that. A dotted outline or maybe a checkerboard pattern for the inner texture or something. We'll figure something out. I think that would be really helpful. Probably just the dotted outline, honestly. I think X-Ray would be good. Especially for the half wall, so that you can see stuff through the half wall. I don't know how generically I can do it. It'll probably be just for selections. Yeah, probably. That'll be fun. We'll set that up eventually. All right, so we need another. We're having a problem with this branch now. What's weird is I don't see how we're triggering this. I'm gonna make this worse to make it better. Yeah, do the models have multiple materials? If so, what would probably have made it more... That would probably... It wasn't multiple materials. It was the way the meshes were set up. I don't know what it was, but I couldn't get it working for most of them because it wasn't just a clear tree of mesh instances. It was like node, mesh instance, node, mesh instance, mesh instance, node. So the stencil buffer, I couldn't set it up. I couldn't set them all to be like part of one stack. I would have had to set them all up individually. And when I did try to set them up individually, there was these weird offsets. I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I just gave up because, you know, there wasn't enough time. And I wasn't going to open Blender and fix anything anyway, so that was right out. But yeah, there's lots of problems I run into when I try to do 3D because I'm unwilling to adjust the models. We kind of just work with what we get in that case. All right, let's see what happens here. That's fine. Huh. So yeah, there's... Oh. Huh. I'm not totally sure what's going on here. Trying to figure out which branch is causing this problem. Yeah, why is this? Why am I having a problem here with this? This backline should be getting drawn. There's this backline that's missing here. And I don't totally understand why. Hey, we got a spam bot. Welcome to the channel, spam bot. Goodbye, spam bot.
He's dead, Jim.
We got him. Yeah, I wish I could have gotten the stencil buffer working. That would have made the user experience a lot better. It would have been a lot more clear what you're clicking on and what would have been interactable. If I do a post-jam version of Grave Escape, that would probably be one of the only things I do. Same with Bare Necessities, is just like add a selection highlights and maybe some like path tracing stuff so that you can see where you're clicking and where you're going. For Grave Escape, I would also want to add an alternative movement model for the player character that's just direct movement instead of pathing. Although I was playing the Grave Escape on my phone and it worked, so hard to judge. It was kind of really cool to be able to play the Grave Escape on my phone, and I kind of am down to be able to like show people that game like that. So I kind of really like, and it's kind of what I was going for, was the single click touch friendly input. But a lot of people want direct input, like WASD, left joystick, you know, that sort of thing. Guess you're a little ignorant here. What exactly is the stencil buffer? It's kind of like, I can't explain it because I'm not a 3D graphics person, but it's a way of writing the shape of something to a buffer so that you can still draw based on the shape of an object, even if that shape isn't visible. Like if it's being occluded by something in front of it, you can draw the outline of a shape to a buffer, kind of like you would like a depth buffer or something, but you can do it per object or mesh or whatever. So you can say, oh, this thing looks like this. And then even if something's occluding it, you can still draw the outline of that thing. They go into some good explanations in the 4.5 release. Let me see. You can do crazy stuff with it. So you can do portals because you can use like another viewport and draw that. So you can do crazy stuff, but you can also do a lot more some more tame stuff. So you can do stuff like this, like you could do an outline around the thing. You could do an X-ray so you can see through a thing, or you could do your own thing. So you could do like your own kind of combo outline X-ray. You could do a bunch of different stuff. Lets you compare if something is closer or further away than anything else in the scene, and if so, change how it renders. Okay. I think of it as like a per mesh depth buffer. Is that like not the right way to think about it? There is like a buffer per thing that uses it, right? Or it can't possibly be writing to like a single stencil buffer for the whole scene, can it? I don't know. I'm in dangerous Dave doesn't know what he's talking about territory, so I'm gonna not. That's pretty much exactly it. Okay, cool. That's kind of what I thought. But yeah, that's super useful for a lot of cases. Very cool thing to have added. Thanks, apples. Yeah, pretty big game changer for 3D, for the 3D workflow. All right, so how in the world is this happening? Oh, I might have put this ore in the wrong spot. I think I needed it to be... Well, hold on a second. Hold your horses. So I guess it doesn't matter whether mask contains this or doesn't contain this. I guess the only thing that matters is the hull contains key thing. Let's check if that's true. That could maybe be explaining why this is being weird. Completely possible that you end up using stencil buffer in your game, considering you think you're going to go 3D. Looks like it might be quite useful. Yeah, it's super useful. There's a lot of like cool shader effects that you can use just without having to write anything. Whereas like if I want to do an outline shader, I gotta write a shader. I don't just have this thing that just works. Shenanigans, you're going off your memory. You believe there are layers of depth buffers, similar to how you have collision and camera layers. Any material can either choose to write to one of those buffer layers or read from one and act accordingly. So you can say something like, if your mesh is closer than whatever wrote to this buffer, render it a solid color. Okay. Okay, did this fix the thing? Did this fix all the cases of the thing? Okay, no, we're back to where we started. Oh, wait, no, we're not. We're not back to where we started. Okay, I think I got it. I think I figured it out here. What if I do this? All right, okay. So this actually isn't determinate at all. Because containment checks for the neighbor. That only matters if we're also contained in the mask. If we're not, then we don't actually care whether the neighbor is or not. So that's it. That's good. This looks good. All right, let's extend this to the other side. Just get rid of that. Put that in there. Get rid of this. I think we're cooking now. What is this song? Oh, I see. It's just taking a second to get going here. In a sense, are you kind of writing one right now? Not exactly, but similar. It's not a shader, but it's def outlines. It's not, and it's technically, these aren't outlines the way people normally think of an outline. Because this is actually like, it's within the texture of the thing. So I'll show you what we have that's an actual outline. Using a material shader sort of deal. We have one. We have exactly one. So the one that we have is our little crew member. This is ancient. I set this up a long time ago. So we have our little crew member. We can get our little crew member. We can make him like run or whatever. Doesn't really matter what he's doing. So his kind of thing is dynamic, right? So we don't have a thing. We don't have like a texture written that covers his outlines. But what we can do is we can go here, and I wrote a little shader. I wrote a little outline shader with some help from the internet. And so what we can do here, oop, oop. I didn't tell you to stop. So what we can do is we can go to here, go to material, and we can, where was it? I just had it. Here we go. Use parent material, so we can turn this off. Bam. Outline. So this is just like, so this is a proper outline because this is adding a pixel around the outside of the thing. Whereas what we're doing when we're auto tiling, we're not adding a pixel along the outside. We're just replacing our quote unquote outline, which is like the edge of the texture. So we use the same term. We call it an outline, but it's not really an outline like this because a real outline is like outside the bounds of the thing you're normally drawing. Like it's outside the bounds of the texture or whatever. It's like actually like 1 pixel past or something like that. That's usually how people do an outline. So we actually have some issues here where like this guy's little hand is not outlined. Actually, I have to decide what I'm going to do about that. I think I did that on purpose. I don't remember why. I'll probably fix that later. But yeah, that's like a proper outline. Yeah, we've had those little guys running around very early on, but not since. As soon as we get the simulation going, we'll get those little guys back in running around, doing their little thing. Yeah, they're fun little guys. I've enjoyed making them. I haven't gotten to do any more of them for a while. I think it'll be fun to write their animations. They're all very similar, so they're going to have the same animations, which is going to be great. Okay, so we did this. Let's do a quick check to make sure that it turned out the way we wanted it to. Let's quickly check to make sure we've covered this case. We haven't regressed anywhere. Throw this in. Check here. Hey, Rhiannon Journey. Ketu Rav. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. How's it going? Happy Friday. Happy Halloween. Okay, yeah, it looks like this is good for this category. Ooh, there's one missing. There's one missing. Why is that missing? Why is that not drawing here? Oh, do we have a regression? We do have a regression. Dang. Okay. There's a missing outline here. You can kind of see it's the top of this wall. Huh. Happy Halloween. You've got your witch hat on today. Nice, nice. I've got my Twitch hat on today. Put up. You're doing okay? You're working on your own project right now, actually? Thought you'd give a watch to someone making a game too. Yeah. That's we encourage that sort of thing here. We're doing we like to try to think of ourselves as like a very chill co-working stream. That's cool. What kind of game are you working on? Are you all I presume you're doing Godot, but maybe not. All right, so we got to get this back in here. So why is this fine, but this isn't? Oh, it's because I see. Okay, so we kind of do. Okay, if we're not included in the mask and this isn't here, maybe we can do it this way. See if this works here. I think we're stepping backwards a little bit, but let's see how it goes. Really annoying. It's like playing whack-a-mole. Yep, now we're back to this. Now we're back to this case again. Dang. Okay. Oh, and that didn't even fix the actual case here. Okay. So that's not it. What was the refactor that led to all of the edge cases happening again? Well, we separated the outlines from the underlying textures, so they're on different layers. That was one part. And then the second part is overlays have different outlining rules than quote-unquote underlays, than like the fundamental texture. So like a hull material, an opaque texture, I guess the best way of saying it is an opaque texture has a different set of auto-tiling rules than like the semi-transparent overlay stuff that sits above it. I guess whether it's semi-transparent or not, it's the overlay. So we're adding rules specifically for the overlay. Because this condition here, this not has edge -x, this is the only condition we use for the hull texture. So when we do an outline, we do the hull texture comparison, and then we add additional conditions to cover all these other literal edge cases. You're not using Godot, Ketu? You're actually writing your own engine. Whoa. Ooh, thanks for the follow. It's more of a re-implementation of Wolf 3D, but the game itself is a spooky game all about static. So the screen is entirely static, and so will the audio. Whoa. It's going to be one of these like signals out of noise kind of thing. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And you're doing that in 3D? I would expect that to be like a 2D game. That's super cool. Wolf 3D, I've never heard of that. Wolf 3D. Oh, is this like a Wolfenstein engine? Wolf3D.net? Unclear. Unclear to me. Unrelated? Yeah, it's rough to work on projects when you don't have motivation, Sapphire, and Rhiannon as well. I basically tried to remove that as a factor, which is why I have like a schedule and stuff. I can't, if I depended on having the motivation to do this kind of stuff, it would never happen. I think is the thing that I've learned. And I'm not big on discipline. I'm really not. I'm not a big self-restraint kind of guy, but I've at least started to build a habit. That lets me not depend on motivation to get things done. Indeed, you had made it back. You made it before back in 2022, but yes, it's based on Wolfenstein 3D back from 1989. You're rewriting it with OpenGL and modern systems. That is super cool. Super cool. We have a Discord if you want to share some stuff about your project, or just, you know, keep up with the community. No obligation. It's just I like to collect game developers in that community. I like to see what people are working on, keep up with their projects. Chat can be your motivation. You better stream or else. Yeah, a stream getting work done. Getting work done on a stream is not a guarantee. Yeah, I've just set up a bunch of times where I'm obligated to work on my game. I have the stream 4 or 5 days a week. I have about 3 co-working sessions. 3 to 4 co-working sessions in the week. So I just have a bunch of scheduled time. That's how I've gotten around it. All right, so we can't yet capture this case. I need to look at this again just to understand this case here. You do your best to distract me. Nice. You started on the 17th. You wanted to finish it today. Oh, wow. You are productive. You are a productive game developer. Mad props. All right. Okay, so yeah. Being part of that doesn't matter. There's an or statement here that's messing me up. It's this or not hulls contains. I think this needs to be an and. I hope it's that simple. Yeah, I don't mind the distraction. I know better than to expect ultra efficiency during a stream. That's not really what I'm going for anyway. Okay, so now we're back. Okay. Okay, we've eliminated one edge case. But we still have this other one. We're still missing an outline. You can kind of see it along the lower left edge here on the top. So we're not hitting that, probably because there is a hull tile there. Yeah, wait, how are we triggering? How are we not drawing that? How are we not reaching that? Or how are we allowing that outline to go away? That doesn't make sense based on my understanding of the rules. Not really. The whole project's only like 1,500 lines. 512 is the level, 500 is the shader, and like all but 100 is boilerplate stuff. That's still really cool. Still really cool. Are you the kind of person that puts like Doom partitions on like your thermostat or your like smart fridge? You seem like you're familiar with the retro and the low level pretty well. Oh, so we don't run into this case on this side either. Or we don't run into that edge case I just fixed, but we do have this missing problem. Are these the same? Oh yeah, these are the same. Okay, so what can we do? So if not mask.contains and not halls.contains key. Let's try this. Let's try this. It's a little more nested stuff, but I swear I've done this already, but we're gonna try it anyway. Your code has grown beyond you. Yeah, it really has. Nah, you could. I mean, yeah, you should probably. You're hoping to make the final version to require sharing it with friends. This is just a demo that you're finishing today. It'll bake save data back into the exe itself. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, now we're back to this error. Okay. Oh, and it didn't even fix the case that I wanted to fix, so that's wrong. What is the problem here? Oh, wait, no, I'd have to test it like this to know if it fixed this. Oh, it actually made this worse. Cool. Cool. Tight. Okay, so that's not it. Shenanigans. You remember when you had Doom running on the old bulky iPods with the click wheel that still had a hard drive? Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Were those black and white? I definitely had one of those. I think they maybe became color at some point, huh? I don't know if they still had the click wheel when that happened, though. Those were good. That was good stuff. Like the rotary phone of MP3 players. Yeah. Yeah, that's wild. Good stuff. Sapphire, did it fix it? No. Undo. Did that fix it? Yes, but caused another issue. Did that fix it? Nope. Back to where we started. Yeah, that is fiddling with auto tiling rules. It is a little house of cards. I like it. It's very explicit once you get it set up. All right, so the problem is we're hitting this. We're not containing the mask at this tile, but the adjacent hall does contain this key. Okay, I'm going to try a very verbose way of fixing this. What's real fun is, wait, why is this working? Oh yeah, that's way worse. That is much worse. If I don't understand how something is working, I would much rather have it not work. Yeah, Sapphire, because yeah, you just can't touch it at that point if that's the situation you're in. It works and I don't know why. Okay, this didn't do anything for us. Actually, maybe it will. No, it didn't do anything for us. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. Cool, cool, cool. Cool, 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 cool. Did I do this wrong? Oh, it should be like this. Yeah, the issue with that is you caught it. It's like it becomes unmaintainable. If it's working and you don't know why, that is unmaintainable code. Why is nothing doing anything here? I mean, I understand why it's not working here, but why in the world is this a problem? It's probably the ore, isn't it? Hey, Magoo. How's it going? How's life? How's OS dev life? Ketu, you'd written a 2D hash function that would give little streaks randomly, like old VHS tapes or something. It looked super cool, and you have absolutely zero clue why it worked like that, and you've never been able to do it again. That's funny. Yeah, that's really dangerous when you get this good behavior and you can't explain why. Sometimes it's okay, but yeah, that is dangerous. Magoo, you were streaming? You saw I was on? You prefer this than the idiot you were watching? You? No. Your stream is probably great. Let me see. I don't even follow you. That's crazy. Let me hit you with that follow so I can catch it on your stream sometime. I want to see your OS dev stuff. Oh, I see a problem here. Oh, can I fix that? Actually, no, I'm going to fix that a different way. Let's focus on the problem at hand here, which actually is only best captured like this. So we really don't want it to see this if there's no mask here. There is a mask here, and there's a hull tile here. There's a hull tile here and a mask here, but no mask here. We want to render it. So why are we not able to capture that in our conditional here? So this is the branch that we're interested in. If the mask doesn't, if we're not contained in the mask, but our neighbor is, I feel like this should be in here. I feel like we're super interested in that part. Oh, hold on a second. This is the wrong axis. How did that happen? Ugh, I trusted autocomplete. Never trust autocomplete. You went to OS dev with no C knowledge and now you know most of it. You might just stream and watch this. Play some music in your stream. Yeah, okay. I don't technically think there's a problem with that. That's cool. That's a good way to learn C. I don't know C. That'd be a cool way to learn. That would be a cool way to learn both C and like comp sci stuff. Let me make sure I'm doing this right here. Yeah. C is way easier than what I'm doing. I don't know about that. Auto tiling is tedious, but I wouldn't call it exactly hard. Rhiannon Journey, you're gonna go watch Magoo stream this stream. All right, see ya. Ketu, next challenge, go full-blown roller coaster tycoon and write a game in raw x86 assembly. We were literally talking about Chris Sawyer yesterday. Chris Sawyer might be the GOAT of low-level programming for games. Like, I know a lot of the OGs know how to do that stuff like quite well. Like I know Peter Molyneux would like write down ideas and like machine code or whatever, but like but yeah, Chris Sawyer of Roller Coaster Tycoon fame might be the greatest. The OG low level. Yeah, you should port it, Mr. Magoo. That'd be awesome. Yeah. I heard something funny though. I heard John von Neumann thought that assembly was too high level. Just pretty funny. Oh. Yoink. I think I was missing a knot. I think I got it now. Watch it just be a regression. Watch me have nothing. Oh, I can't test it here. I gotta test it here. Oh, it's not fixed at all. Man, what the heck is going on here? I don't understand why I can't capture this case. This is really annoying. And capturing this case without accidentally misidentifying any other case is where the problem is. Hey, Tricky Lady, how's it going? What are who doing? Where? Me? I've got a little Halloween parade thing to go check out later. It's like noon here. It's not Halloween time yet. How are you doing? Happy Halloween. Welcome back, Godot. Rhiannon Journey. Assembly is too high level. We all need to be soldering logic gates directly onto circuit boards. That is basically what John von Neumann apparently said. Ketu, you'd recommend getting Siri bot for the stream. Helps remove scammers, spammers, notifies when ads are coming up as well. There's lots of other. I might consider it. I use StreamerBot, but I use it with a very light touch. I haven't looked into it since 1.0, which wildly changed it. I need to spend some time on the stream. I've put very little effort into making the stream like a good experience for everyone, myself included. 5 years of no trick-or-treaters. Ooh. I don't get trick-or-treaters either because I live in an apartment building. They can't get through the front gate. But the street just down the street from me is like the spot. It's like a really nice little residential street. It's got like beautiful individual family homes and stuff that are all decorated like crazy. There's going to be a huge like Halloween party. Like it's like a block party every Halloween. Just like down the street from me. It's so fun. I go check it out. I don't usually wear anything fun. I have a little seasonal sweater I might put on. My little Pottsfield Harvest Festival sweater or something. But yeah, I enjoy it. I go and check it out. It's fun to see. It's fun to see everyone dressed up. But yeah, there's music. There's like, it's a good time. So I'm looking forward to that tonight after work. We'll see. I might watch like a spooky movie tonight. We'll see. We'll see. I watched Event Horizon earlier this week. That was fun. That was fun. I love that film. Magoo, you're up a dirt lane with one other house. And yet you still got 8. Cool. Rhiannon, same there, no trick-or-treaters. You're at the end of a cul-de-sac. Yeah, cul-de-sacs are rough. I grew up on a cul-de-sac that was like off like a very busy street. So nobody wanted to come up there. It was just the kids that like lived on the cul-de-sac, which was fun in a way, but yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to deal with them, but I do like going down and kind of like being amongst the procession. Just kind of observing it, enjoying it. Not having to do anything myself. All right, so what do we think we can do to fix this? So we know we're in this not mask contains branch. And we know that we need to make sure that, and it's pretty easy that if there isn't, wait a second. Right. No, right. I think it's this, actually. Or this. And this. I swear this should be right. I think I could actually get rid of this line, but that doesn't seem to work, so we're gonna keep trying. The shenanigans, there's a couple of really popular cul-de-sacs around where you are on Halloween. Pretty much every house on it does some super over-the-top Halloween experience. I think that's fun. That's very, like, suburban fun, good times. My neighborhood's really safe, and it's, like, in the city, so it's, like... people kind of come in from, like, all over the city to have Halloween on this street that's next to me. Pretty cool. It sounds like pure chaos, though, for like 2 hours. All right. All right, we're gonna try this. This is my next attempt here. So what exactly are you trying to figure out? We're dealing with edge cases of an auto tiler, and I'm just painstakingly sorting out those rules. There's a few left. We're specifically working out rules for an overlay, this overlay system that we have. It's just very tedious. Still nothing. This is insane. I'm going to do a quick safety check here. Because I'm a little concerned that I'm doing all these things that's having an effect, and it's something else is overriding it later on down the line is my concern. So I'm going to do a quick check a Rooney here. Oh, actually what I wanted to do is I wanted to just remove this entire thing here. Just force draw the outline for everyone. Make sure that works. And again, as you can imagine, your place is in a somewhat new development. It's been expanding over the years, starting to get more and more local more and more trick-or-treaters. That sounds fun. That sounds fun. Sounds fun. Okay. Okay, so that's not where I should be testing. I should be testing like here. Okay. Okay, now we're going to just test the first branch. Because this first OR statement could be messing me up too, now that I think about it. Yeah, our game is 3D in a sense. Ketu, but we're rendering it in like an isometric 2D. Okay. So yeah, it's definitely in this branch that the problem is coming up here. And yeah, there's just one particular arrangement that I'm having a hard time representing without messing something else up, without accidentally misidentifying another situation. And you know, it's the end of the week, so I'm kind of just okay just fiddling around with this slowly. I'm like not in a huge hurry to fix this. So I can't test it this way because that's the wrong side. I have to only test this. So yeah, This tile in front should be drawing an outline that's shared with this tile behind it in this case, but it's not. It's being misidentified as a situation where it's okay to not draw the outline. And we presume that the outline should always be drawn, but we define cases where it shouldn't. And so this is being miscaptured. This is being covered by one of those, by some combination of the cases that we use to cover everything else up. Hey, Liony, what's up? Happy Halloween. Happy Friday. How's it going? Yeah. Yeah, the outlines specifically are what's causing us problems. We've separated. It used to be the texture was like straight on the texture, and we just had one pass that covered all of it. But now we've decided to do the outline as a separate pass. So I'm adding additional rules that apply only to the outline. So like here the outline's being drawn correctly, but due to Y sorting and a little bit of overlap that affects the horizontal outlines, the tile in front of it actually is responsible for drawing the outline behind it. And this tile is like, I think I'm cool to not draw the outline, and it is mistaken. It is mistaken. It definitely needs to draw the outline. Could it be an off by one error? Not really. It's possible, but I don't think so, because all we do here is we just, to check the person behind us, the tile behind us. Well, maybe you're onto something. Is this in line with the axis? You check your negative X neighbor. No, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we just take our own coordinate and subtract 1 from the axis that we want to check. So I don't think we're looking at the wrong one. We're just, this condition is returning true in a situation that should return false. And so I'm just fiddling with it. And the problem is each time I fiddle with it, if I'm not careful, I regress and introduce more problems. Like I misidentify some other situation. So we have to be very precise. It's like a Z order issue. It's like a Z order issue. It's Y sorting issue. So Godot can sort tiles based on its closeness to the camera, which I guess is like Z order. So Godot has like Z indexing, which is like you can define differing layers where you're like, this thing with a higher Z index will always draw in front of this other thing with a lower index. But within each Z index, Godot does Y sorting, which is basically what you're talking about, which is a Z order issue based on the position of the thing relative to the camera. So yeah, that's essentially what we're dealing with. Rhiannon Journey, would breaking it down into nested if statements help isolate the conditional you need to modify? Kind of. I already do that a little bit. I just don't explicitly nest it. You'll notice here we have if mask contains us. And then down here we have or mask doesn't contain us. I could do that with like an if else, and I could break it up, and I could space it out more explicitly. I've been finding that this is a little easier for me, because this is kind of a silly thing to do, to say if this or not this. That's kind of a silly thing to have that conditional check there. It would make more sense to say if else, but for this purpose, I kind of like doing it this way, because then I don't have to write this part more than once. So yeah, that could help. I've tried it before when I was writing it. I kind of like this better. But yeah, it is more confusing. It's like the Z index of the further Y sorting situation to handle pseudo 3D rendering of tiles. Yeah, pretty much exactly. Pretty much exactly that. Yeah, it's tough, but it's not bad. It's like eventually I'll figure it out. This sort of thing only makes me frustrated when I'm on a time constraint, which I'm not today. So we're just hanging. We're just hanging. We're just hanging out. No, I appreciate everyone trying to help me. I can't be helped. I'm too far gone. I'm too far Godot. That didn't work. I tried it though. Have you ever thought about just fixing it? No, I haven't. That sounds like a plan. Let's pencil that in. Actually, what I'm going to need is we're going to need to be doing a feasibility study and an environmental impact report. We'll commission a feasibility study and an environmental impact report on what just fixing it would entail and the impacts of it. And we'll bring it up at the next council meeting. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Market research. That's a good point. That's a good point. I want to understand how this fix, I want to understand how, the 24 to 30, the 25 to 34 demographic, what they think about this fix. I want to measure the impact on our market reach, with and without the fix. Diginanigans, how many story points is this bug going to take to fix? Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely, if I had it, I would use my inspiration at this point. I need to be rolling with advantage here. What about the impact on sales? Is it within the budget projections? Yeah, I'm really concerned about what this fix is going to do to the quarterly earnings report. I'm really concerned about the impact on the shareholders of rolling this fix out. What's this going to do to our market cap? Let's not be hasty. Let's not just go in and fix things. Let's try to understand, all the context. You started giving away apples, tricky lady. Maybe you should try giving out, it's trick or treat. It's kind of dealer's choice. It's your choice to keep giving out treats. It's well within your powers to just start giving out tricks instead. Start just pranking them. Just maybe put a bucket of water on top of the door so that when it opens, Next up are pasta boxes. Oh my god. Scotty McDuber, thank you for the follow, and may I say that is an incredible name. Hand out caramel covered raw potatoes. There you go. There you go. Yeah, an egg. Yeah, have you tried giving out Scotch eggs? The one and only Scotty McDuber. I believe it. I'm honored to have you in my chat here. We're not really getting anything done today. Not sure if that's what you were expecting. We're kind of at the end of a very long week that started with a game jam and is now ending with Halloween. But how are you doing? Happy Friday. Happy Halloween. The end of Spooktober. Deviled eggs. That's at least on theme. That's at least on theme. You've also had a long week. You've been looking for Godot streamers. I'm at least one Godot streamer. Although you'll see we're working in C#. Don't hold that against me. We do stuff in GDScript. We do GDScript. But we don't, we don't poo-poo on GDScript. We think it's a fine language. You're out of eggs. Yeah, productivity. Nah. You're the beginning of your game dev journey. It's so weird in counting elitists. You'll see one. There's one in every Reddit thread, or YouTube comment thread, or Twitter thread. Usually more than one. Yeah, we're not elitists here. Being a game dev means being down and dirty. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, welcome to the community. Yeah, we have a Discord. It's full of lots of devs, mostly Godot devs, but some non-Godot devs. We like seeing what people are working on, and we're happy to help. No obligation, no, like, don't feel... I feel weird whenever I, like, try to plug the Discord as soon as someone pops in, but, you know. Nice, yeah. Get in there. Everybody, get in here! I can't do it. I can't do the Hearthstone card. Which I think is actually just a Blackrock Dwarf. From Molten Core or whatever. Or not Molten Core. Blackrock Depths. Work. All right, so I do need to figure out which auto tiling rule combination of checks here is going to yield the right condition. So we're misidentifying this tile. So this tile, this true statement needs to be false in a very particular circumstance, and it's not. It's coming back true again. So this part's true. Not mask.contains whole key.xyz. That's correct. That's what's happening. This part, not holes.contains key whole key.xyz minus vector 3i.x. This is false. Oh, but I'm saying not. No, yeah, so that evaluates to false. However, this, or not mask.contains vector 3i.xyz. This is a not. So this is also coming back false. So both of these come back false. And yet somehow, we end up with a true statement. It's a conundrum. Oh my god. It's the whole key.xyz. I'm making a vector 3 out of a vector 4, and I'm losing the layer data. That's exactly what's happening. It's got to just be whole key itself in its vector 4 form. Oh, I'm such a fool. It's literally making a new vector 4, and it's losing the W component, which is where we contain our layer data. This should work. You're a Unity boy? Well, I was a Unity boy for like 15 years. Not no more. Ketu, someone who's been making games for close to 20 years. We all start somewhere. You started with Click Team Fusion. I started with the Hammer editor for the Source engine. That's where I like originally dipped my toes into. That was fun. Fun stuff. Yeah, Mr. Magoo, when are you going to make your own game engine in your own OS? When are you going to just go full John Blow here? You actually have one up on John Blow. John Blow doesn't have his own OS. Or should I say, Blow S. John Blow S. Sven has definitely played TF2. Oh, yeah. We were talking about TF2 like yesterday. Magoo is the TF2 legend, I think. Unless it was someone else. I think it was Magoo. All right, let's see what's going on here. Did I actually fix the thing? You love the uneasy. This should work? Question mark? Yeah, that you could. That's like my banner. That's like my tagline. It's my battle cry. My battle cry is this should work. Okay, it won't work here because this is the wrong axis. Will it work this way though? Hey. Hey. And we didn't regress. There's no regression here, is there? It's not working this side because I haven't copied it to the other side. But I'm testing this because there's a lot of negative X. Hey, we did it. Yeah, it's all because I was generating a new vector 4 out of the vector. I was ripping a component out. Autocomplete. Never trust autocomplete. Autocomplete is so dumb. It's so easy to be tempted to just be like, I'm gonna tab and I'm just gonna get this right here. I'm gonna get this. I'm just gonna tab this and I don't have to use my fingers to type words. Wait, you have to sub to clip? Oh, that's sad. I didn't know that. Huh. Sapphire, you're peeking in on Magoo's stream. He just added me into the credits as a supportive streamer. Aw. Thank you. It's funny. I've never had someone streaming also hanging out in chat. That's funny. All right. Let's fix that here. And I'll add this part. Not mask. That contains. We're going to be very careful about this autocomplete here. We're missing. Ah. All right, now let's check both sides. Ketu, you deal with losing data from vectors all the time when writing shaders, so you feel me there? Yeah, it's my fault. I wrote my own vector type. I wrote my own integral vector because I wanted a lot of nice little utility functions and shorthand and stuff. Like, I love being able to be like, to take like a bigger vector and just type out. I could be like, it could be a vector 3 and I can just be like vector.xz or whatever, which GDScript doesn't have stuff like that. I love, what is that called? Swizzling or whatever. I love doing that. I love having all my own little utility functions, but it means I get a little over eager sometimes to use them. All right, let's see. I think the bulk Z layer is finally right. We got to go back to the deck layers, though, because there's some problems with the deck layers. Am I going to fix it like this? No, I'm going to fix it the other way. Right now, the problem, you can hover and select empty tiles. I need to make that not true. I need some way of getting rid of that, because I don't want this to happen either, where you're like on the edge here and you can see the floor tile is like, let me just draw this here. I guess I could fix it at the tile map layer, but I really want to just... You shouldn't be able to hover over an empty tile. Oh, wait, actually you should, shouldn't you? Otherwise, you could literally never place anything ever. Okay, maybe I do need to fix it at the tile layer. That's fine. We can do that next. We can fix this erroneous little... You see this erroneous little line here. I'm going to get rid of that. Also, let's maybe check... one layer down. Let's check within the, Oh, that wasn't right. Let's add a floor to that. Does it work fine in this case as well? Mostly. There's another issue we know about that we need to fix. But otherwise, this seems fine. I do kind of want to blend these, the hover and the select, a little more. It's called Swizzle? Yeah, that's what I thought. It's all over the place in GLSL. Yeah, I like swizzling things. Scotty McDuber. You wanted to clip me for insulting someone for not making their own engine? Yeah, that sounds about right. What made me switch to Godot after 15 years in Unity? A lot of things. I would say mainly the initial impulse was all the BS that happened in like October of 2023 that has mostly been walked back now. All the BS with like, you know, the runtime fee and all that stuff. I just lost all faith in Unity. Not in the engine. I actually spent my last 3 or 4 years in my last 3 or 4 years in the Unity engine was actually spent doing their like data-oriented tech stack stuff, using their entity component system. Oh, hey, Nanigans. I haven't forgotten about you. I see you down there making custom maps for StarCraft. PowerPoint games. Yeah. So I enjoyed being in Unity from an engine standpoint, but I just lost all faith in their direction as a company and in their leadership. And I don't think that's ever coming back. So I love the Godot Foundation. The Godot Foundation is so good. I trust them implicitly. I've met a lot of them. They're good people. They have good motivation for doing things. I mean, it's hard to trust, you know. When John Riccatelli tells you something, when John Riccatelli tells you something, don't believe it, you know. But yeah, I've found Unity to just be way better in every way, especially for a solo developer. If you're a solo developer and you're making games, drop Unity. Stop using it. Switch to Godot. If you're making 2D games, you should absolutely be using Godot, because Godot's pixel perfect transform system is the coolest thing I've ever seen for 2D games. Like, Unity games and Unreal games are fake 2D, right? Like, they're 3D engines under the hood, right? So, like, doing 2D in those, doing actual pixel perfect 2D is so hard to do in Unity. And I presume Unreal. I've never tried to do it in Unreal myself. But, yeah, Godot is great. I've never used Game Maker, so I'm sure Game Maker's cool too. But of the big three, I would never go back to any engine other than Godot. It's so good. It's such good stuff. Especially for my use case. But I make 3D games with Godot. We just made one last weekend. I think the workflow for a solo dev is just so much better. Set aside the fact that the Godot engine is totally open source and everything, right? Like, how many times have you tried to do something in Unity and you just straight up can't because the engine doesn't support it? And your like choices is like, well, I guess I could technically go into the source code. But it's like, I don't know. I think everything about Godot is superior. Maybe not their platform support. I guess you've got me if you're like, well, what about if you want to build for Xbox or PlayStation or whatever? It's like, but good, W4 Games is making that very easy to do. So the gaps are being closed. Unreal doesn't even really support 2D anymore. There is no paper 2D or sprites for Unreal. Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. Oh, Mr. Magoo, Twitch is telling you to knock. That's funny. Yeah. If you're streaming, it tells you to knock everyone. Scotty, it's honestly really encouraging. You've heard a lot of people bag on Godot just because you guess it's different than Unity. It's a bit different. It's pretty different. It's hard to get the I have a picture for this, actually. Let me pull it up. There's a structural difference between Godot and every other language that at first is kind of hard to get over from like a mental standpoint. It's this. Competency on top of open source and good culture and community. Yeah, it's amazing. I went to the first North American GodotCon earlier this year. It was such a good experience. Everyone is so amazing. So here's this scene graph thing. Not technically a scene graph, but here's this graph of like how scenes are constructed in engines. So like this is what you're used to with like Unreal and Unity and stuff, right? Which is like you have these prefabs, which are these things that you made, like a bench or whatever, a rock, a tree, maybe not a tree, but you know, a character or whatever. They're these prefabs, right? And you put them into a scene along with all your other prefabs, and that's how like a Unity engine scene is structured. But in Godot, everything is a scene, and a scene can be instantiated as a node. Technically, there are resources too, but let's set resources aside for the moment. But the scene structure of Godot is so smart, where it's just scenes all the way down. It's so cool. It's hard to get your head around it at first, but the stuff you can do with it is, in the long run, just feels so much better and so much more intuitive in the long run. Once you've gotten over the hump of like, what's a node is a scene, is a node is a scene, is a node. Once you've gotten over that, it's like really good and clear how this works. It's very cool. Scenes all the way down. Yeah, exactly. That's Godot. It's super cool once you get used to that. And it's so flexible. You can make your own component structure. So you can do a component structure like Unity just using nodes. So you can like have a node components that you attach to like a parent node. And you could do your own component instead of doing like an inheritance based thing, which is kind of, Godot is very flexible, so it's kind of very object oriented. But you can totally do your own component model in Godot. You don't have to do object oriented at all. Like, not really. I mean, you have to engage with the engine's inheritance model to an extent, but super cool. Welcome to Godot. Glad you're here. I don't think you're going to regret it. If you check out Road to Vostok, you can see someone pushing the 3D side of Godot. Also, if you check out PVKK, that is some incredible high-res 3D Godot stuff happening. The game that's about the like planetary cannon, and you're like in the bunker manning the planetary cannon. Super cool. Nice. We got a clip of my Godot scene explanation, and its name is Strange Spicy Axe. Sounds like a homebrew D&D item. Thanks, Sapphire. Appreciate it. Diginanigans, fun fact, even web browsers now typically render 3D meshes, but just as a flat plane. Oh, God. So are they like all quads, or are they like bigger planes? It's more efficient to just have textures on planes, to have performance scrolling or animations using transforms translations. I get that. I get that from an abstraction or from more of a standardization kind of standpoint. Because you still have to render the thing, right? It makes sense. It makes sense. That's kind of like how everything is slowly moving into a direction where we're optimizing for like, how is this on the GPU? Even if it's like not terribly relevant, we're still like, I think we start thinking about things.
Logic was impeccable, Captain.
Don't talk over me. Just kidding. Ketu, yeah, with modern systems, blitting directly to the screen isn't a thing anymore. You just render to a quad. That's so wild, because I did my own scriptable render pipeline in Unity at the end when I was trying to do this crazy voxel thing that I was having fun with. I was blitting directly to the screen. It was a crazy world. But yeah, that makes sense that we don't do that stuff. That's good. All right, I'm having fun. I'm having too much fun. I forgot what we were doing. We were fixing some issues with the deck Z layer, because we finally slayed the dragon of the bulk Z layer problem. So deck Z layer is up here. Specifically, the overlay deck Z layer is right here. And so the problem here in mask contains, or if not mask contains, wait. Oh, it's this or. This and this and this and mask contains. So this is false. This branch becomes false like immediately. But if not, mask doesn't contain us, We still... Wait, this should just fix it for us. Why doesn't this just fix it? Why doesn't this... Oh, I'm on the... I'm on the wrong layer. I was like, hold on a second. This one. Yeah, this is the layer I want to be on. All right, all right, all right, all right. All right. All right. Yeah, I think we want to switch it to this here. Wait, we're having fun. Hey, Arneo, how's it going? I liked your update that you posted last night. That was really cool. Being new here, what's the project goal? Oh, yeah, this is a game. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the goal. Wait, let me see what I just did. I feel like I just did something. And then we'll talk about it. I think I can just get rid of this line. And this will just work. But yeah, let's talk about the project. Ago, you had to use CPU interrupts, and now you've made your own, excuse me, driver for printing to the screen. Y'all got it easy. Yeah, dude, what you're doing is crazy. Ketu, you were thinking about doing that at the moment. It looked you looked into it. You saw what was required to even attempt to do. You were like, nah, no. Yeah, that would be my response as well. Starship, we've been working on the auto tiler so much it feels like I'm just making an auto tiler. Look, just because we've worked on the auto tiler for the last like 200 episodes, get off my back. All right. Oh, that line was important, I guess. Wait, how did I mess up the positive Z? Oh, I understand. We actually absolutely need this line. We need to say this. We need to say this and not this, or you say this. Or not whole dot contains key whole key, none of this whole key dot xyz thing. Autocomplete, I swear to God. Dot x. All right, we're going to figure this out, and then we're going to do a little bit of a high-level overview of the project for Scotty here. I just know if I drop this, I'll totally forget what I was doing. So, okay, cool. So we don't accidentally render if we're like selected off the screen anymore. You can still do it, but there's no visual problem with doing that, I don't think. Let's double check that we don't have anything weird happening in here. Whoa. Okay, so it's still... Oh, no, that's the other side. That's the other side. Okay, I think we're looking good. We're looking good. All right, let me just copy this to the other side. We're having fun today, huh? I'm always so tired when I start streaming, and then I get so amped up. We have a good time here. Sapphire, you're considering starting streaming at some point. It will have to wait until your business is up and going and you can set your own schedule. Maybe streaming would help you actually work on your projects by keeping you accountable. That has been huge for me. That has been huge for me. The accountability of having a schedule and having like witnesses. Because I mean, y'all are nice. You don't like, you know, disown me just because I like cancel a stream. But yeah, having again, removing the dependency on an intrinsic motivation to do something is a good way to actually, you know, maintain productivity. Like you have to get out of that loop of depending on your own motivation to get stuff done. People watching help you make decisions as well. Oh yeah, you can get some good ideas. So let's bring up the roadmap a little bit. Oh, this is the wrong vault. This is the Grave Escape, which is worth checking out. That's the latest game I made. I made it in 3 days for the Solo Dev Halloween Jam. I'm going to drop a link in the chat for anyone that's interested. Check it out. I had a good time. We had a good time. We streamed the whole thing. Well, not the whole thing, but we streamed all 3 days. Oh my lord, Mr. Magoo coming in, blasting an innocent bystander with the gift sub phaser. Set the phasers to gift sub. Thank you. That's huge. Thank you so much. I'm not worthy. All right, Digital Iliad GDD. I don't know why I call this the GDD. This is not a GDD. I don't write GDDs. You can't prove otherwise. All right, so here's our tile block editor task list, which is not terribly accurate. I should really add a task here, which is like split overlays and outlines. So that's kind of what we've been doing for 1,000 years. Something like this. But yeah, let's look at the roadmap for a minute for Scotty here. For anyone else hanging out that's new. Because yeah, we're splitting the overlays and the outlines. I would consider this task under review. Probably. What we're really trying to work towards is having an invalid block tile mask. But to do that, we need to do a whole bunch of other stuff first. To the roadmap. All right, this is an approximate roadmap of kind of my idea. I don't know, I guess I didn't talk about the game idea itself, which is, this is Digital Iliad. You're forcing your friend to be subbed. Oh, did you target that person specifically? Because Twitch will just pick a rando. Otherwise, I will get a gift sub to a stream that I haven't watched in like a month. I don't know how Twitch picks who gets the gift subs. I would expect it to just be people who are live in the chat at that moment, but it seems totally random. Which I guess from an engagement standpoint, it makes a lot more sense because I've totally dipped back into streams because some rando gifted me a sub and I hadn't watched the stream in like a month. So maybe there's method to their system. Gray boxes for planning gray boxes. It's gray boxes all the way down. And a gray box is a scene. I'll be here all week. So yeah, so I don't know. I just went down. So we're making an isometric 2D FTL-like game. It's like a Star Trek style game where you're like, your main thing is managing the crew and the systems of a starship. We're taking the kind of top-down 2D FTL look. We're keeping the real-time, pausable real-time element of it, but we're adding a lot of verticality. So like you'll have maybe the bridge on the top deck, and then you'll have maybe like weapons or shields or something, and then maybe you have like a reactor room or an engine bay or a cargo bay or whatever. So we're making it vertical because in my mind a spaceship is vertical. So we've been solving a lot of visibility issues, which is why you see us working on auto tilers and cutaway systems and all that stuff, because that's a huge visibility problem. It's the problem, as far as I'm concerned, of the game. Scotty, gift subs are given to people, 1, in chat, 2, followers not in chat, when the viewers all have subs already. Oh, okay. If it exceeds followers and viewers, you have no idea what happens. Interesting. Mr. Magoo, you can make me hydrate 43 times, or roughly 2,838 milliliters of water. Watch yourself. I only just removed the per user limit on hydrate. There is still a 2-minute cooldown. I'll give you a symbolic hydrate. Anyway, so that's our plan. We stream about 3 hours a day, about 5 days a week. I have a day job. I do it before this. I do it after this. I'm very lucky that I'm able to carve out a good chunk of the middle of the day to stream. So this is a long-term project. We've already been doing it. We've been doing it on Stream Live since February of 2024. Random Journey, you're at 98,000 points. In 600 points, excuse me. Yeah, I am gonna figure out some point sinks. That's on my list of like things to do to make the stream better, is to figure out some ways that people can use their points for fun stuff. I will work on this. Because yeah, I acknowledge that there's quite a few regulars here that have a lot of points and can't do anything except low-key harass me with hydrates and stretches. Or talk over me with sound bites. So we'll figure something out. We'll figure some stuff out. Anyway, this is like our basic roadmap, trying to walk ourselves through from our alpha through our beta to an eventual gold 1.0 release. This is all very, very rough. This is kind of just an idea of what we're thinking about doing. I'm following the Cosmeteer style. Develop in public and make the game freely available while it's in development. Obviously, we're not there yet, but we're going to work our way towards that. And this is kind of how we're going to get to it. You don't want to spam audio all the time. I know. I'm going to work on some stuff. I'd like to add some visual stuff, maybe. Obviously, we'll add the obligatory, like, get a credit on the game or something like that. Or, like, get a free Steam key eventually. We're just not quite there yet. Doesn't make sense to be giving people Steam keys. I don't have a game. Hey, Senny Sensei. Welcome in. How's it going? Happy Friday. Happy Halloween. We're getting spooky in here. Yeah, so here's my idea. We're working our way towards an alpha MVP launch. Can't wait to play Super Auto Tyler. Super Auto Tyler 64. Because it's in 3D. So the game is going to be available, or whatever our alpha MVP launch is going to be available for free, probably just on itch.io. I would like to get a Steam demo up at that time. This is what we're working for. So the info up here on top, these are like platform deals. Actually, I should probably have like a grouping that says platforms or something like that. Yeah, whatever. I'll organize that later. We're working on this thing called the tile block editor, which is like the way that you build out ships and the scenes and all the things that exist in the game. This has been a long time. We've been working on this the whole year pretty much since like the end of last year when we finished our entity component system, which was around episode 100 something. That's kind of when we were working on the entity component system, was like episode 90, 100, something like that. We're on episode 266. So we've been working on the tile block editor for a long time. I'd like to finish it by the end of the year. That's the goal. I don't know if it's possible, but we're gonna be pushing to do it. Because what we really want to do is we want to move on to this simulation, which is so we can like simulate how power moves throughout the ship. We already have an atmospheric system insofar as we have a compartment system. So we can tell, the system can tell where the sealed compartments on the ship are. So we want to work all that stuff out next. That'll be really awesome. Hopefully that doesn't take a year. I don't know. We're front loading a lot of work on the tile block editor because it's kind of the most important thing. Then we'll start working on a scenario editor, which is like, how do you script scenarios of like the FTL style? Like a ship jumps in, it's an ambush. You hear this dialogue. The enemy ship teleports a crew onto your ship, and it's like, you want to be able to set all those scripted events up. Or like, you encounter a merchant. Here's what they have for sale. Like, we're going to do that stuff. I'm going to snooze our ads once so I can finish this explanation before the ads start. And then we've got this, what I call a 9-box battlefield, which is essentially, it's still FTL style, where like you don't really see your ship move around. It's just going to be on the screen. But there is a little bit of positionality in that, like, it's a 9-box, so your ship is in the middle, and like another ship might be behind you, or might be in front of you, or it might be on your back left flank, or something like that, you know? And there will be a little bit of that. And that's kind of the scenario of how do we handle, so like what if one ship shoots at another ship? It's like, how do you resolve that? When you try to beam from one ship to another ship, how do you resolve that? That's kind of the last part there. So we want to do all of that. That'll be our MVP. We'll move towards an alpha release, which is going to be, again, the Steam demo. And that's when we start working on things like a campaign editor. Like, what's a run look like? And like, we'll build out scenarios. We'll work on run progression about like what happens over the course of an FTL run. Will there be ability to have friendly ships in combat? Yeah, I think so. I think there will be ally ships. Because it's a 9-box battlefield, so you could easily have you fighting 2 or 3 enemy ships and you have an ally or something like that. Or maybe it's a distress call and you jump in and there's like 2 neutral ships fighting and you have to decide like which one am I going to join the fight on? Like, which one do I want to support? Do I want to support either of them? Do I want to shoot both of them and just like loot them both? Like, what do you want to do? I want to have that kind of flexibility to have that emergent storytelling. 1 ship per box, or can 2 ships be in the same box? It's going to be 1 ship per box, but it's in space. Oh no, Mr. Magoo, they've set off the sky bombs. Rip. It'll be 1 ship per box, but it's in space, so it's all relative. So the distance, I might need to come up with a way of representing close versus far distance. So there might be someone on your left and someone on your right, but the person on your left is close and the person on your right is far. So, I don't know. It also might be 1 9-box per ship. So if you have a ship on your left, that ship has its own 9-box. Or I don't know. I don't know how I want to do it exactly. There might be just 1 9-box per scenario, and the player ship doesn't necessarily need to be in the middle. It could be on one of the sides or something. We have to figure that out. But yeah, we're working towards getting an alpha release, which is like essentially a demo. It would essentially be the free version of the game. And that would just be available indefinitely for free. And at that point, we would start working towards some kind of paid beta on Steam. And the big thing about that, the reason you would want to make that is so you can get Steam Workshop support. So that's when we start adding mod support in terms of like we support players who are sharing mods. Because the reason why we're writing all of our tools, like the editor tool, like the block editor and stuff, that's just running at runtime. That's just a runtime tool. Like you could use that during the game to build a ship. Like that's not a not compile time, but you know what I mean. That's not like a edit time tool thing. We could just have a block editor in the game. And that's a lot of the plan, is to enable UGC stuff. Let people make their own ships, let people make their own scenarios, their own campaigns. But you need a secure way to share that stuff, so that's why we're going to eventually do like a paid beta on Steam, which will just be an early access essentially, and then eventually we'll get to a gold 1.0 with what I'm calling a movie ending. The structure I imagine for a campaign would be like it would kind of be like a run of like Star Trek or something. It would be like a 5-year mission or something. And then maybe the end that I can start adding endings to the campaigns like Star Trek movies. Like maybe some villain that you wronged earlier in the series comes back with like a new beefy ship or something or whatever. You get the idea. I have some fun ideas for how to like tie up the game when we finally do a 1.0. We also have a side project that I want to do called Lo-Fi Flyby. We can save discussion of that for another time because I actually do need to run an ad before we come back for our last hour here. Does Godot have Git support? Not like in-editor Git diff commits, but the source code is all text, so it's Git friendly. Oh yeah, that's a good point. How's it going, Lost Marble? You Your idea ended up being so good. You were the one that had the reverse farming game idea. We made our game. We made our jam game that was our reverse farming like horror game. We made it. It's called The Grave Escape. I'm gonna drop a link, but ads are gonna run. So we're gonna run some ads. I'm gonna take a break. We're gonna come back and hopefully tie up the rest of the auto tiler here. But yeah, thanks again. I think it was you. I remember you on the weekend on Friday, I think, giving us the idea of like, what if you're trying to keep everything in rather than like the typical farming game thing? It was bad. We were not in good shape by the end of day 3. I ended up doing an all-nighter to get it done, but I'm really proud of what we made. I say we, you know. It was good. I'm subbed for 19 months. Yeah, I am. I am, Magoo. I've been watching this stream since the beginning, I can safely say. That's graved. Oh my god, Mr. Magoo. No, that's well done. I mean, not well done, but that's fair play. All right, we're running an ad. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to get a little bit of water, stretch my legs, and we're going to come back for our 3rd hour here. I try to do 3-hour streams. Does producing count as watching? I think so. I'm always looking down at the OBS screen in the bottom left. Partly because that's where my YouTube chat is. Thanks for the hydrate, Random Journey. Let me go take care of that. We're hopping into ads. You're ad free, Mr. Magoo. I'm going to take the stretch. I'm going to take the hydrate. Come back in a few minutes.
He's dead, Jim.
But yeah. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Happy Halloween. Appreciate the new faces. And all the regulars. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. We back, y'all. I appreciate that, Starship. All right, what were we doing? Auto tiling? Probably. All right, so this fixed that case, I think. I'm pretty sure. Double check real quick. And then we can actually fix the case that was kind of the impetus for this entire thing, which was to get higher level tiles that aren't included in the selection to correctly render the outlines for the tile beneath them. We're doing that a little bit here, but there's one super important case that we haven't covered yet. Or not case, but there's one side we haven't covered yet. All right, this seems to be correct. No. Doesn't seem like we're accidentally overdoing it anywhere either. Looks all good to me. Somehow we've sucked you in here with all the streams, even though you're struggling to do it yourself. No, I get that. You're struggling to figure out the visual style you want to go for and how to execute that style. No, that's fair. I'm very limited in my styles. I only make these kinds of low-res 2D games because that's like all I can produce. I don't have the workflow to do 3D. I think there's a world in which I did like a low poly 3D version of this game that would have been a lot easier to make, to be honest. We wouldn't have needed to spend a year making a 2D auto tiler. But I would have ended up spending a year learning how to like making 3D models that I didn't hate. So I don't know. This came more naturally to me, so this is what we're doing. But it's hard. It's hard to think about that and figure out exactly what you want to do. At least a year. Look. It hasn't been at least a year. It may eventually be at least a year. All right, this all looks correct, though. Arnio, your visual style is whatever 30 minutes with you in Paint, GIMP, or Pixel Editor produces, to paraphrase you. It also saves me from the realm of rigging. Yeah, it's debatable what's better. It's debatable what's better. There's the whole Dead Cells debate, which is like, if you're going to do 2D pixel art, do you even want to do it in 2D pixel art? Don't you just want to do it in 3D and then like take pictures of the art? That's what Diginanigans is doing. I mean, that's what Dead Cells did historically. Like, so even when people are doing pixel art workflows nowadays, just to make it so you can actually animate stuff efficiently, they'll still just do it in 3D and then down-res it and take a bunch of sprite snapshots of it. I'm pretty sure that's what Factorio does too. Pretty sure all of Factorio's art is 3D and then they turn it into 2D sprites. Pretty sure. So yeah, very few people are actually doing full-on pixel art nowadays. I can get away with it, I think, because I'm very low res. I'm so low res that I don't think you could do what I'm doing in 3D and then down res it. There would be too much loss of information. All right, which layer do I need to work on now? We need to work on the deck X and the deck Y, because I think this is where these problems, or not where these problems, but where this stuff needs to get fixed. This is what we need to be doing here. I should really have a get atlas coords function, probably. Split these out so I don't actually need to have so many of these where they all have identical, where they have a lot of stuff that's similar. I could probably do something like that, kind of like how we have our has edge checks. Ketu. Styling is such a pain. You just like do a bunch of and see what you like, or just do whatever's easiest and deal. Yeah, because it's not just pick what you like visually. It's also it's the intersection of what you like, what you can do, and what's worth doing, or what will sell. Right? It's that Venn diagram of all three that really matters. You can downres 3D to 2D if the sprites are at least about 64 by 64, you think? Anything smaller gets a bit dicey. Yeah, we're very often in like, our characters are like 16 pixels tall and like 8 pixels wide in a lot of cases. So yeah, it would be tough for us to pull that off. Sapphire, you don't have a workflow for anything right now. You're leaning towards 3D, but still don't know. I think in the long run, 3D pays off. But yeah, it's tough, especially if you have to learn it. Because I feel like it's probably easier to learn pixel art. Or at least it's probably easier to make something serviceable with pixel art. I don't know. I don't know how to do 3D, so I can't speak to that. But it was more fun for me to learn pixel art. So that's what we're doing. And it works for my style, for what I want to achieve. Scotty, your brother and you made a ton of sprite sheets for making Lego Bionicle comics on forums back in the 2000s. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. I remember Bionicle. Magoo, you just did your first 2D in the OS. You did ASCII art. Nice, nice. You find Unity's 3D very intuitive? Yeah, but you don't make 3D stuff in Unity. I mean, I guess maybe they have some like procedural geometry stuff you could maybe use, but like if you're doing 3D, you're probably learning Blender. And Blender is a beast of a program. And actually there are settings for Godot where you can change your 3D interface for Godot to match Blender. I don't know if you can do the opposite where you like set Blender to match Godot, but you could at least, I think you could at least set up a 3D workflow where it's very seamless for you to go between Blender and Godot. You love Blender? Yeah, that's a good reason to be doing 3D. If you actually know how to use Blender. It's way too much for me. I mean, even something like Photoshop is way too much for me. This game is being made with Sprite. And that's it. Sprite is my level of editor that I can handle right now. All right, what are we doing? I guess I should double check and look at the conditionals we need to set here. Ketu. You started using Blender back when the controls were all gestures. So glad that's not a thing anymore. Yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about, but it sounds crazy. Scotty, Blender and Godot are the two muscular men in the GIF where the clap hands. Oh yeah, the handshake, the big muscular handshake guy GIF. Yeah, they're buddies. It's actually really cool. Blender actually came out with a game for Godot that they made. It was really cute. Something about dogs, which just makes it cuter. But yeah, Blender and Godot are tight. They're great. That's the awesome like open source community for you, right? The FOSS. All those fossils. I don't know if they call them that, but they should. Magoo. Once you got those bins ported, you can work on 3D. Let's hope that's soon. That sounds fun. Okay, so yeah, so the thing we need to fix is we need to fix this. Oh, dang it. I keep picking the wrong block. This is also wrong. What is this? Why is this happening like this? Oh, there's a cutaway thing happening. I have to fix that. Let's fix that after, though. Because that's more of a bug and less of a feature. And I want to add this feature more than I want to fix that bug. But yeah, you'll see if I do these selections, they don't... The tile above doesn't cast an outline down below it like it should to finish the selection. It just leaves it open-ended at the top, and that we need to fix that. That should be pretty easy. Manigans, you haven't really been here for the last while. Officially heading out now. No worries. Need to get starting, getting your kids ready for Halloween. Get stuff out for the trick-or-treaters. Yeah, have fun. Have fun. Halloween is great. Halloween's one of the fun holidays. Ketu, back in the day, in order to rotate something, you would draw a circle on the screen to initiate rotations, and then the basis was your look direction. That is absolutely insane. All right, let's get this line drawing down. So what is the condition that we're interested in? This is a lot like we were doing before. This is like where not selected. Oh, it does this at the front. Oh, I gotta fix this too. That should be easy though. I'm gonna do that one first because that's easy. It's easy. Arneo, you think if Sapphire can do 3D, that would benefit their project a lot? You could definitely see a 2D version of the game working too. There isn't really a right answer. You just got to pick what you prefer working on. Yeah, it's that threefold Venn diagram, like I was saying. And it applies to games too. There's this intersection of what I want to make, what I can make, and what other people are gonna want to play. And you can apply that to art too. You can be like, where's the center point of this triangle of like what I can make, what I want to make, and what would be worth making, which is like how I like to phrase it. But technically the what would be worth making is like that's like a market question. That's like is there a market for this thing or whatever? Because like if you do pixel art, instantly a bunch of people will not play it. There are a ton of people that will look at your pixel art game and be like, I don't play those. Even if otherwise they would have loved it. They'll just be like, not for me. I don't think it works the other way. I don't think there are people that only play pixel art games, but there are definitely people that refuse to play pixel art games. They just won't do it. So it's like, you got to think about that. Similarly, a lot of people like making platformers, right? But it's like, is a platformer, quote unquote, worth making from a commercial standpoint? It's like hard to say. It's hard to say. It's a tough genre. That's when you start looking at like Chris Zukowski is like, here are the genres on Steam that always do well, right? And it's always like deck builders and like management style games and like certain kinds of games, roguelikes or whatever. There's definitely certain, in the same way that there are certain genres that always work, there are definitely certain visual styles that are more likely to get people on board. Pixel art does tend to get used a lot with a lot of indie games. It's true. And there's a lot of people that just don't play indie games. Or they'll say they don't play indie games. They're like, I don't play that shit. I only play the real games, you know? Give me that Call of Duty. But whatever, you're not aiming for those people anyway. But it's important, besides all of that. It's important to know the audience that you're aiming for and think about them. So like for me, I'm trying to make an FTL-like game, right? FTL is famously pixel art. So if I'm aiming for people that like FTL, I don't have to worry about the pixel art thing. If I'm aiming for, you know, a wider audience, well, now there's a bunch of people that probably won't want to play it because it's pixel art. So I don't know. I could have done it in 3D. Doom, Ketu. Doom equals Contra equals Binding of Isaac. That is an interesting line of connection you got there. I don't know if I totally agree with that, but I could probably understand what you mean. I don't really consider Doom pixel art, but I guess technically it is. Because back when they made Doom, that wasn't considered pixel art. That's like basically 3D with like storybook pop-up characters. But environmentally, that's 3D. That's like blazing edge. That's like blazing edge tech at the time. So that's funny that that you think of it that way. But I get it. I get it. Yeah, Doom was real photorealistic for the time. Exactly. Lost Marble. You played Halcyon 6 because you played FTL. That's a great example. Halcyon 6 is a super weird game, and it looks crazy. I liked Halcyon 6. I played it. But yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that looked at that and they were like, nah. Half-Life and TF2 were a giant leap in graphics. Half-Life 2 was a crazy leap in graphics. There's some good documentaries on what happened between Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2. Because even Half-Life 1 is so much more part of the old guard compared to Half-Life 2. Half-Life 2 to me is one of the first like real modern 3D games. The stuff they did with blend shapes with like the faces and everything is incredible. It still blows me away. Yeah, Scotty, it's like the people who won't watch cartoons exactly or animation. They're like, that's for children. And it's like, yeah, I mean, whatever. Yeah, I think you have some good reasons to pick 3D, Sapphire. I don't think you should be forced into it. I think exploring the space is good. But yeah, I think if I was trying to do the kind of thing you're doing, which is kind of like a Crashlands style exploration kind of thing, like over the shoulder camera, it's probably easier. Because if you have a character that's 3D that's doing over the shoulder walking, you just animate it once and, you know, the camera rotates. But if you do that in 2D, now you're like, I need an 8-direction walk animation. Not only do I need to animate this character once, I need to theoretically do it 8 times. You can use tricks to reduce the number of times you have to do it by mirroring, but not everyone, you can't necessarily mirror all movement. So that doesn't always work, but it's like, yeah. We would not have PC gaming without id Software. Oh, yeah. Ketu, the comparison was all shooters. The perspective is different from each one. Yeah, for sure. Okay, I could see that. Calling Binding of Isaac a shooter is a little weird, but I get what you mean, I think. All right, so we need to maybe do a little more work here. I think I can just use the same condition here. You know what I want to see more of? I want to see more like Wallace and Gromit style, like traditional animation, like claymation like games. Like Harold Halibut is maybe one of the coolest games made in like recent memory as far as like the stuff they were able to achieve visually with their like claymation stuff. I want more of that. Give me more of that stuff. That was so cool. I think there's another claymation game coming out soon. I don't know if they faked it or they're actually doing it. I think technically there was a lot of photogrammetry in Harold Halibut, but still, it's like incredible, that sort of stuff. I'd love to see more of that kind of unusual take on 3D. I'm less interested in some of the crazy like body camera 3D stuff people are doing. That I don't like. But I'm also not a big shooting game player. The Neverhood, it's a claymation game. Okay, that's the new one coming out. But yeah, Harold Halibut was something else. That was something else. I really enjoyed that. I got to see a talk about that. It was good. Mad props to those. all of the animations were like mocapped by like with like the art director doing all the acting themselves and everything. Like it was so good. Some cool stuff you can do even as an indie in that sphere. I mean, you don't necessarily have to convert your apartment into a motion capture studio, but it certainly doesn't hurt. Thanks for the redeem, the hydrate, Mr. Magoo. Oh, the Neverhood is a much, much older game. It's a Sierra style game. Oh, okay, okay. There's some kind of new claymation style game. Oh no, I'm familiar with this. I've seen this. Yeah, I think that's great. I think Streets of Rage did that too. Like the original Streets of Rage. Or not Streets of Rage. What am I thinking of? The Rampage game. What was that? One with like monsters. So many memories of the arcade. Sapphire, you just want to get something, figure out something. You don't want to figure out something for the artwork before you do much else because you've had multiple other projects die because you get stuck on the artwork. You don't want to do a bunch of work just to get stuck on the artwork. No, I feel that. A visual direction is super important. For the longest time, this was the only piece of visual design that I had. But it was enough that I could take this single painting that I made and I could extrapolate in my mind what the consequences were for how something like this would need to be set up to even work. So yeah, if you can at least get the thread, if you can at least grab hold of the thread, you don't need to, knit the whole sweater. You just need to have an idea of the direction that you're going, for sure. Technically, OG Doom was claymation. All the sprites were pictures of actual models. Oh yeah. The original Fallout, I think a lot of the 3D models started life that way too. Like a lot of the character portraits for like the original Fallout game. That's so cool. Mr. Magoo is trapped in OS dev hell over here. Pray for him. All right. So we're going to check to make sure that this all worked. I shouldn't have needed to make any changes to this additional set of conditions here. Excuse me. It's still doing the thing. Why is that? It's still doing that in the foreground for some reason. Was I on the wrong layer? I don't think so. But that's classic Dave, is to be working on the wrong layer. Huh. What layer are we on? Yep, I'm on the wrong layer. Rip. That said, I should double check to make sure that I'm gonna hold on a second. We actually might need that for this layer anyway. Let's see what happens if we remove this. We might actually want that. Double check. No, we don't need that. That seems to be okay. I don't know why it doesn't seem to matter, but looks like we've added some kind of safety feature to prevent the need for that. Okay, can we maybe use that then? What are we doing here? Plus and not mask.contains. Oh, can we just say that? Will that work? Let's, oh no, we have that. That's what we have here currently, and that doesn't work. So what are we doing here? We're doing this. This is even simpler. Will that work? Can we get away with that? Sapphire, if you had something like that visual, like that single style guide piece, you'd be a lot more confident in the project. Yeah, just that. That's all you need. One piece. One little thing that's like, here's kind of what I see in the world. That's all you need. Arneo, your latest art contribution to your project was to take an already made ship sprite, modulate it red, and then dub that ship the Red Baron. That's what it takes sometimes. You're starting to think you should be called Porco Rosso instead. I like that a lot. I love a good Porco Rosso. That might be my favorite. That very well might be my favorite Studio Ghibli film. It probably is. Okay, too. Having direction is really important. For your current project, it was just the idea of changing the duty cycle of static to emulate grayscale alongside remaking Wolf 3D. It's just the implication of all that together to get the end result. Oh, that's cool. There is some game, I've heard of it or seen it, and it's like mostly static, but there is information in there. So like if you can see, you can like learn to see the game inside the static. I don't remember what that was though, but I feel like I've seen something like that. It's a cool space to explore for sure. It's like one of those hidden image situations. Okay, did I do it? Huh. Okay, what are the consequences of this though? None? Huh. I'm a little worried about this. I've like removed a check here. I'm gonna leave the commented out version for now, just because I feel like that's gonna come back and bite me if I don't. I'll come back and it like won't make sense. So I'm gonna leave these commented out versions. But so far that looks like that covers the case. right, let's see if we can fix this one other thing, and then I'll be pretty happy with our accomplishments for the day. Scotty asks, what's my life work outside of streaming and game dev? You're a dad of 3 and you work full time. It's very challenging to carve out any time to work on your game. It's very discouraging because very small setback could mean weeks of time where you don't get to work on it. Oh yeah, I'm not a dad. I have no responsibilities. I have a day job. I have a pretty boring day job. It's low key though, in that it's like not terribly stressful. It's a lot of work, but it doesn't like drain me emotionally or physically or anything. So yeah, I'm pretty lucky. God, Rhiannon. Yeah, so I'm very lucky in that I have no real responsibilities. I mean, I got a job and I got rent to pay, and that's about it. So yeah, I'm very lucky in that I can, whatever free time I have that's not, like, I mean, I have a significant other, like I spend, I have relationships that I need to maintain and stuff. But if I'm being honest, there's a lot of stuff that I don't do very much. I barely exercise. I don't have a lot of, I don't really have hobbies outside of game dev. This is kind of just where all my extra time goes. And yeah, I'm very privileged to be in that position because yeah, I couldn't imagine doing this with 1, let alone 3 kids. Yeah, so I'm at a point in my life where I can kind of go all in on this sort of thing. I don't know how I know a lot of guys who are dads and who are pushing through the game dev stuff, and it's definitely harder to make consistent progress for sure. It's not impossible, but yeah, good. I'm rooting for all of you that are in that kind of a position. You're a dip, Ketu. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you hanging in here. Sapphire, you've seen something where it's just static and you can see things if you're moving around, but if you stop moving, you can't see it anymore. Oh yeah, that's what it was. It was like a horror game. It was some kind of horror game. Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I'm dying. Rhiannon Journey, that was too funny. OS devs aren't allowed to have relationships, Mr. Magoo. Sad. Scotty, you made a super nice community, and education's really helpful. Appreciate that. I appreciate you thinking so. No, we do try to have a nice community here. We're not elites. We're not elites, nor are we elitists. We're regular old. I put my pants on the same as any other man, one leg at a time. The only difference is once they're on, I make gold-plated records. That's my Christopher Walken joke. My Halloween Christopher Walken joke is like, look out, a ghost. A ghost. You scared of ghosts? Ghost. I can't do it, Chris. I shouldn't disrespect the man. There's a great SNL sketch though, like a Halloween SNL sketch or something, where it's everyone doing their best Christopher Walken voice, and he's standing there with them, and they're all talking about ghosts, which he says in a very funny way. That's so profound. Yeah. You gotta head out. All right, Sapphire. It's been fun. We'll be playing jam games tomorrow if you feel like checking that out. If you don't want to lose your watch streak. Twitch is Twitch's watch streak thing is such a manipulative way to get people to come back. So messed up. All right, what am I doing? I'm fixing some stuff with this, right? Yeah. All right, so what I think I need to do is when I am checking the positive edge here, we need this branch. We need to refine this branch to also say something. So we need like is not this and not mask dot contains, or no, and mask dot contains, and mask dot contains alt key minus vector 3i. I learned my lesson this time. Or not minus, plus vector 3i dot z. Oh no, I didn't learn my lesson. I do need the XYZ because that takes a vector 3. So that's block based, not tile based. What's the music? It's perfect. Let me see. Pretzel Rocks is supposed to be posting this, but it stopped doing that this week, and I can't be bothered to look into it. This is Deep Freeze by Zircon. It looks good. It's pretty cool. Deep Freeze by Zircon, like the mineral, like this. You just scrape from the YouTube archives. That'll work. That'll work. All right, let's see what this does. I need another condition here. Because it's not enough for just this. We also need... Actually, this might be sufficient. Let's try this. Let's try this. It could be this simple. Now that we've done... I say this simple as we like rebuilt everything around it to make it this simple. That always feels like how these refactors work. We make all of these changes to the structure, and then the actual solution just seems so simple, but it's because we changed the entire architecture around the problem to make the problem easy to solve. So it's very misleading. Oh, I broke something. I broke something pretty bad here. How did I do that? How did I do that? How did I break this that badly? What the heck? What I wrote cannot possibly be causing this. I must have messed something up somewhere else. I'm gonna take it back to where it was. We're gonna see what's happening here. Because that was wild what just happened. I like totally broke everything. Okay, now it's back to normal. That's concerning. I don't see how what I did could have had such a profound effect on this, but okay. I know I just got finished saying how easy this fix was. Why did what I just write cause such a weird behavior? That was super weird. You guys are ridiculous. Is it TF2 time, Mr. Magoo? Time to melt faces. We play TF2. I'm going to be super straightforward. I haven't played TF2 in like over a dozen years, but man, I did love it back in the day. I was like a DPS medic. I was like a bullet slaughter equipped medic. I enjoyed playing that game so much. It was so fun to burn people down and they couldn't out DPS my heal. I won so many fights by the skin of my teeth by just healing off of my damage to them. I enjoy that game. I never got into, you know, the follow-ups. Yeah, TF2 is great. Bad-mouthing the orange box is like a bannable offense in this channel. All right, so why was that so weird? Why did changing this? So it's not mask contains us. So if we're not contained, and this is not contained, then we should be in good shape. What was concerning was, you know what it probably was is, no, I don't. All right, let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens with this. Okay, well, we didn't have the crazy weird side effect, which I think is because I messed up that conditional. Oh, this isn't good. Yeah, why is this triggering? What the heck was that? Okay. Why is it? No, I get, like, we should be drawing a line at the bottom. Why is it completely changing the entire thing? I don't understand. What are the other conditionals I'll say? Is there some other evaluation happening down here that would explain why everything is crazy? No. Yeah, it's weird. When we trigger this, instead of just triggering the one edge, it's activating all of the outlines for this face. Unfollow. That's funny. Y'all are hilarious. This looks like it's kind of a mess. I don't know if I can fix this in the next 5 minutes. But we'll make one more quick attempt and then we'll probably give up and we'll pick this up next week. But I'm just so concerned about how this could yield that kind of behavior. So much.
Most illogical.
Let me look at the auto tile map. So what we're setting down here, we're setting the y+2. You know what might be happening is it's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. I wonder what happens when if you go past. If you like go past the area, does it loop back around? Like maybe what's happening is the Atlas cord is going out of range, and the default behavior for an out of range Atlas cord is for it to like default back down to like whatever 0 is or something. Or maybe it wraps. Maybe it just wraps. I actually don't know what the behavior is for a tile cell whose Atlas cords is out of bounds. This can only happen once, so I don't know how how that could occur. Very strange, very strange. I guess sanity check. check the overlay. Oh, this is wrong. This isn't. That's a meaningless. It's a meaningless thing to check. That's got a different mapping. Do you see a JetBrains Rider user? Yeah, that's what I do. That's scary looking. Yeah, this is so there's a mapping, which is what the autotiler uses, which is this little diagram I made. This is like how the autotiler thinks of things. The numbers are these individual cells mapping into the tileset atlas, which is like the actual thing shoved into the texture. So right now there's no difference between the textures because all the textures are solid colors, but this is like that how the outline is packed. It's like a very dense packing. It's all described. There's like a very clear mapping. I just occasionally get suspicious. There's no problem with the mapping, I don't think. I just occasionally look at it. But yeah, this is how we map all the outlines onto this. It's pretty efficient. It's I think it's like 256 by 512. And it's pretty densely packed. You can kind of see if you look to these how densely packed it is. There's only 6 tiles that are empty per sheet. Eventually I'll figure out something to do with those, but right now we don't do anything with them. Yeah, we've rewritten the tile set atlases a couple of times. So how could this happen? Because, yeah, we're also drawing all the outlines, even when this very, very clearly expresses that we shouldn't. Are there just too many parentheses? No. 2, 3. Chords equals chords. Chords equals chords with y equals chords dot y plus 2. That should be totally fine. There's something weird happening here. And what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I gotta beware. Everybody stop. That's so stupid, Dave. Yeah, I think this is we have no idea why this is happening, and it's so insane that why that would happen that I think this is a pause and pick up next week problem. I have no idea how this is happening. That's a super weird result of this behavior. Like I would understand if the outline just isn't occurring when it should, but to have the outline freak out and just turn on every single outline instead of just the one direction that we're modifying, that's so weird. I don't even know where to get started with that one. Huh. I mean, this is back to what it was before. All right, who's going? Oh my god. All right, we're going to raid out. I just looked over the nerds are they have a crazy Halloween thing going on. We're going to raid them. Hopefully they're not wrapping up. I don't think they are. I think they go pretty late on a Friday. But yeah, this was fun. Tomorrow, we are going to be playing more Solo Dev Halloween Jam games. That's all we're going to do tomorrow. Play more of these games from this jam that we just did last weekend. I'm excited to play them. There's some really good ones in there I haven't even gotten to yet. And then next week we'll be back to normal. We'll be back to doing our regular work. But yeah, I'm very excited to play some more of these games. See everything there is to see. Should be fun. Should be a fun Saturday. But yeah, it's Halloween. Go get into some trouble, I guess. Let's go give the nerds a jump scare. Really hope they're not raiding out. We did raid someone the other day who instantly raided out just as we were raiding in and broke the whole thing. It was horrible. But yeah, I think we're good. But yeah, this has been fun. Thank you all so much for watching. And hopefully I see you tomorrow. If not, have a good weekend. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye. Blah.